Hello, my name is Marcus, and welcome to my channel. I'm here today to talk about Moana 2. I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I first heard this movie was getting made, I was kind of skeptical. I was definitely on the side of Moana's story as kind of been told. I really didn't see a reasoning for her story to really continue like that. She fixed her land, she returned to Fiki's heart, and she was allowed to travel the ocean as a wayfinder again. But, they have proven me wrong. This turned out to be a very emotional and spiritual rejuvenation that I did not know I needed. So buckle in and let's really tackle this movie. Moana 2, let's get started. Let's tackle the story first. We start out our adventure with Moana traveling to different islands that are somewhat close to her native island, trying to find other populations of humans. She has had no luck thus far in the past few years. Ultimately, she ends up receiving some messaging from her ancestors that there is a curse populating the ocean that needs to be broken so that she will be able to actually function as a wayfinder and reconnect the different tribes and populations of the ocean. It ended up having all of your typical tropes of your standard Disney movie, reconnecting with a lost loved one, reconnecting with your ancestors, finding your destiny, understanding the spirituality of said destiny, and just knowing what your purpose is for the world and how to improve society. I think that's what I've always liked about the Moana franchise. She's always been a Disney princess that understood her core value in helping her fellow man, helping her people, aspire to be something better, something great. And this movie really orchestrates that to a T, even in moments where she's actually doubting herself. She has cohorts or her new team members that help her understand that she is someone special and that she is meant for something great. And I can really appreciate that. It's just a feel-good movie for the human spirit. It really is. Now, let's talk about the cast. All of your characters from the original movie definitely make their return in their own perspective way. Definitely the biggest, newest addition to the movie is Moana's sister, Simi. She is a welcomed addition for sure, and a welcome motivation that helps Moana get pushed to reach new heights of her potential and to provide a influence or a role model type to kind of continue the legacy of her tribe. So I can really appreciate that. I am an older sibling myself, so I can definitely understand that. I also want to talk about her parents, her mother, Sina, and her father, Chief Tua, for a second as well. I definitely appreciate the character development that they both garnered from the first movie to the sequel. As we know, in the first movie, they were hesitant to let her go due to the curses that was set upon the island. However, with her proving herself and her realizing a part of her destiny, they were able to reach a comfortability to allow their daughter to reach her destiny or to pursue her own ambitions. And that is fully represented here. It really is. Even with the possibility of her going on this mission to lift this curse from the island and potentially never seeing her again, even though they were super hesitant, I definitely felt a sense of longing from a parent perspective. It's so hard to let your child branch out on their own and try to reach or perceive their destiny. Even though my daughter is only 8 years old right now, allowing her to try out new things, even though she could potentially fail at them, that is a fear for a father that I feel 100%. And so appreciate the writing that is presented here, specifically for Chief Toa to be able to find the strength within himself to let his daughter go, to pursue her destiny. It's something else. It almost made me, it made me emotional. Brilliant writing by Disney for sure, just to go into that deeper level of understanding, to, push our offspring to be the best versions of themselves that they can possibly be. And of course, Maui makes his return as well. Honestly, though, his role in this movie is kind of backseated to his role in the first movie, in my opinion. He's there to assist Moana achieve her destiny. But I mean, he certainly provided some cool action scenes. He still provides that kind of guidance to Moana from a demigod perspective. But definitely, his role was critical in the first one compared to this one. Then we have a newcomer and a villain per se. They kind of want you to think that she's a villain, but not really. Kind of like an anti-hero, you know. Motangai is her name. She has a bit of a witchcraft, maybe like a demigod status herself. Looks like she has the power to control bats. Her and Maui don't seem to get along that quite well, but by the time Moana shows up, it's almost like the story does a weird job of showing what her actual motivations are. She ends up helping Moana in the long run because she wants the curse lifted off of the ocean as well, because she is bound to a singular island because of it. Kind of weird, kind of portraying her to be a villain when there was actually never the foresight in the first place. Which leads me to some of the nitpicks of the movie. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times on this channel. A good movie, especially a Disney movie, superhero movies in general, they're only as good as their villains allow them to be. And when it comes to the Moana villains, just kind of lackluster, kind of weak. I mean, one of them is a cloud with lightning per se. I mean, he's a god essentially, but really just a storm. Okay, cool. It's really more so just about Moana's story and her progression as a character. It's almost like just the villains are just there just to be in her way, but they don't really give us any personality to said villains at all whatsoever, honestly. Don't get me wrong, it's not a deal breaker. It's not like, this movie sucks now. It's definitely something that keeps Moana 2 from being not only as good as the original, but it definitely keeps it from progressing to one of the great Disney pantheon of movies. It's just an okay. I still appreciate the spiritual upbringing that it personally gave me, but that aspect alone definitely keeps it from being one of the greats. Along with this crew, I found this crew kind of annoying. Let me explain. We have a Lotto girl on the left. She is the mechanic, the genius of the group. She repairs the boats and adds mechanics to it. Always a welcomed addition. Always a core member of a ragtag gang of a boat crew that you need to progress your mission. Definitely my favorite out of the three of them and the most tolerable. Old guy on the left here, he is the planter, he is the cook of the group, he is the feeder. They grab plants throughout the ocean, he gathers them, cooks and feeds them. With the only thing, he just adds a grouchy, relentless, everything annoys him. He just that grumpy old man, par se, your typical, just like, everything just gets on my nerves. I don't like anybody. He slowly but surely turns that around towards the end of the movie, especially when they hit their hard times. He, is definitely a critical member of the group, but through the majority of the movie, I just found him annoying. Oh God. But I still found him a bit tolerable. Now, the worst by far, oh, God help me, one of the worst Disney characters ever, in my opinion, Monty. One thing he did was draw pictures, fawn after Maui, kind of just get in the way. That's literally it. That's the only thing he contributed to the group. They tried to put it like he was strong and could help lift stuff. But even that, from the beginning of the movie, he never really showcased that talent either. He just drew and fawn up the Maui. That was it. I don't know why he was there. He just pissed me off. Especially after this coconut guy and Maui joined the group. They did the majority of the heavy lifting and the fighting. So once they joined, Monty was just left useless. Speaking of the coconut guy, I like that they explored their lore a little bit more. Due to the curse, they had been traveling around the ocean just trying to find a new home, and they were able to gather together. If the curse is listed, that they would be able to go home. So cool that they did that. This is another little sad story that they decided to close up there. Then we have Hey and the bacon guy here. I can't think of his name, this pig. But, providing the comic relief, you always got to have some animal friends. It wouldn't be a Disney princess movie without a couple of animal friends them interacting with Maui was always a joy, especially when he gets hungry. He's like, bacon and eggs, gotta love it. So I definitely do appreciate that. Then once we are able to get all the gang back together again, they are able to find an eye within the ocean and travel to the sacred land where the curse of the god Nato is being held. Where here we do get a decent action scene of pretty much our boat crew with Moana avoiding the lightning clouds and the lightning storms, where Maui is literally slicing the lightning strikes with his skyhook there. Honestly, it almost kind of felt like a video game. It was pretty cool, pretty fun to watch. It really was. Then eventually our heroes realize that they need to focus on their own perspective missions. Maui needs to pull up this island so that Moana and crew can touch it so that the curse can be broken. So that's a weird way to break a curse in my opinion, but I guess it is what it is. Definitely not how I would have written it, but what are you gonna do? Well, it ends up Maui is able to grab hold of the cursed island, but Nato strikes him right head on with lightning. It almost appears that Maui loses his godhoodly powers for the time. And then Moana is able to dive into the ocean and touch the island herself, but not without getting struck by Nato's lightning, which essentially kills her. So then, of course, we have our emotional scene where we think that Moana is not going to make it out of this situation alive. But if you've been following Disney as long as I have, I don't think they've ever once taken out the main heroine, the main hero. So all of her ancestors, including her grandmother, come together and they are able to essentially bring her back to life and give her an essence of godhood, essentially turning her into a demigod. I really love this because this is kind of a nice conclusion to Moana's story. It makes sense that she's always had a specific relationship with the ocean, almost like she was a waterbender of sorts. She was able to communicate with the ocean through the ancestors and the spirits. So I felt like it was only a natural progression for her to achieve some sort of godhood or demigodhood within her arm and her boat oar to be able to, further manipulate the power of the ocean and break the curse so that her tribe could communicate with other human tribes around the ocean. Very satisfying ending to this movie, 1000%. I am happy that I have gotten to experience it. It was really a great film. Definitely not my favorite. I had some nitpicks for sure, but ultimately it was a very enjoyable film. So I think it's clear to everyone that has seen this film that they left room absolutely for either a third film or a Disney Plus series, as the after credit scene has shown us, and the ending of the movie, honestly, that their horizons are vast now, that Moana and crew is going to be traveling across the ocean to explore new lands, then meet new people, and go from there. And then Nato, the god, makes his appearance in human form, and he is clearly upset on what Moana and Maui have done. And he apparently is going to force Mategai to help fulfill his goals, whatever they may be, and to take an educated guess, probably just to amass more power. So that's we'll see. That's what either Moana 3 or Disney Plus. We don't know for sure is where the direction that they're heading in. So we're definitely intrigued. We're definitely invested in this franchise. So whatever decision they decide to go with it, we'll be there to witness it nevertheless. However, before we leave here, don't let me not mention the music here at least once. Definitely not as impactful as the first one. The majority of the songs were rehashes from the first film, which is not necessarily a bad thing. They definitely went with the trope of if it's not broken, then don't fix it. Now, probably my favorite song from this film was her stance top the mountain, I Am a Moana song. most definitely my favorites. The CGI and the art forms in this movie, absolutely stunning, beautiful as always. The Disney Studios outdid themselves with this one. You know, just like the saying, again, if it's not broken, then don't fix it. So definitely don't have any qualms or issues with that at all whatsoever. Definitely adds to the spirituality of the entire project. I'm happy that I was able to experience it, and I will be listening to some of the soundtrack for months to come in my own personal vehicle. And with that, that is going to do it for this one, my friends. So if I had one go with this video, that was that to convince you that this is definitely a Disney experience that you need to go see. I am happy that this franchise has been permanently integrated into the parks, specifically Epcot, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for the Moana franchise. Very, very happy with it. Had some nitpicks for sure, but not perfect. But ultimately, I'm happy I got to experience it. Okay, as always, thank you guys for watching. If you wouldn't mind, maybe hit that like button. Also, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. We do all of our Disney movie reviews and experiences here. So make sure you can subscribe so that you don't miss out. You can follow me at youtube.com/smartjack79. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, my friends, thank you for the support, and I will see y'all on the next one. I'll catch y'all later. Bye.